Welcome to Sweat, Sauna and Stories. New podcast just launching. It's not very hot today, there won't be much sweat going on. But first episode, I'm really excited to be doing this with my good friend Jonny Mason, who together we've come up with hashtag Mission Possible, What's Your Possible, where we're taking all 5 UK Ironman events on. So we're going to start today up here at the beautiful Ogden. Dogs barking, it's cold, there's snow everywhere. We're going to go for his first bit of sweat, we're going to go for a run. I'll be honest, I'm still tired from the F45 game, the rugby game, my body's still absolutely battered, but it don't matter. We're going to go there, get a run done, and then we're going to head to the sauna, and then we're going to have a bit of fun in the ice bath. Let's go. I'm here with my good friend, Jonny Mason, aka Little Johnny, the monster, the three-time Ironman, who actually was the man that came up with the mad idea to do all 5 UK Ironman. Hey Johnny, tell us what that's about.
So I saw the post from Ironman that got put out asking what date and what release date for all 5 UK races, and I just decided that I wanted to do all 5. That's where it was born.
Love that, mate. And we sat having a coffee like we do, having a chat, talking life, parenting, business, and then you sort of said, what I do is for ANDYSMANCLUB. But how important has this been for you, fitness?
Yeah, I think it's provided me with discipline, the focus, and just healthy lifestyle.
It's important, isn't it, just for his brain, less than a cane and legs rev every day. Those who don't know, F45 at 7:45, played in that game at the weekend, and the body is so, I don't know if it ever built for rugby, but I'm no longer built for that. So I'll be honest with you all, the idea right now of piecing together 5 Ironmen in a year plus all the other events is looking or feeling a little bit impossible. So in these podcasts, first stage, first step, the sweat, is always about just piercing the surface, finding out what, finding out how. When we hit the sauna, we ask why. So, I guess first up, Johnny, is what is an Ironman, for those that don't know? What drew you to it, and what keeps you doing more?
So Ironman's a long distance branded triathlon where you take part in swim, bike, run. Got 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride into a 22.2 mile run, which is a marathon. And I guess at the start what drew me to it was fitness, getting healthy, leading a better lifestyle, and leading on now a bit deeper, a bit of structure to the life, the way I live the life, introducing the children to it. It's just become a part of life now.
And these Ironmen are all done in pools and on treadmills and in real nice warm locations, aren't they?
Yeah, if you want to say that, yeah. More like a lake or an ocean on a rainy bike in Bolton out onto a cold run, unless you're in Barcelona and you've got the heat and it's the opposite.
So I've done Bolton twice, and I'll be honest with you all, try to see if you can see this. It was like swimming in mud, literally. I remember throwing up, not a nice visual or audio if you listen to that. Water was going in my mouth, could feel the mud, throwing up, and then knowing still had another lap to do on that swim, so another mile and a half, just under, plus a 112 mile hilly bike, and then finish with a dreaded marathon. I think Ironman is the ultimate test of mental endurance, not just physical, because it's you alone with your own thoughts, and that's one thing a lot of us don't like being with these days, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Time with his own thoughts. What do you think when you're on bike?
Yeah, and I think there's a journey within itself of the ups and downs, and kind of especially at Bolton on the bike ride, you're doing laps, and I kind of got to second lap in and got off for a toilet break and wondered how on earth I'm going to get rest of this done, let alone run a marathon. Then you come to the end of that bike and all of a sudden a marathon doesn't seem that hard. You get running, you're excited, and then it hits you again. You're 10k in and you've got another 30k to do. That's Ironman.
It's freezing today. Set it up for the vest, as always. But just to pick up on what Johnny says, the reason why we've chose Ironman is Ironman's tagline is anything is possible. And you really notice that when you go to an Ironman event. All the different shapes, sizes. And it often reminds me a little bit of ANDYSMANCLUB, of mental health. So it doesn't matter your shape, doesn't matter your size. You've just got to get through them doors. You've got to keep pushing through each of those boundaries. first asking for help, then taking that help, talking about how you feel, developing positive habits. And like an Ironman, what Jonny was saying, when it gets tough and you want to quit, that's the point when you've got to keep pushing forward, you've got to keep moving forward. And I'll be honest with you all, I'm feeling a little bit of that today. But so, we're going to get a little bit of running done. We're going to check back in. That's a little intro to why me and this mad guy are doing all 5 UK Ironman in 2025. Final little push here. Been a nice little run, cold one, but we're going to enjoy this sauna, and we're going to delve a little bit deeper into why this guy wanted to get into Ironman, why probably got me into it as well. So all good for that, Jonny?
All good.
And I know, Jonny, you love an ice bath, don't you?
Absolutely, can't wait.
This is going to be fun. Welcome to a new concept called Sweat, Sauna and Stories. It's a new vlogcast. So it's not quite a podcast, it's not quite a vlog, it's somewhere in between. And the idea is we get guests together, we're going to have a sweat, then we have a sauna where we get deep. But the concept is while we're sweating, we talk about the what, we talk about the how, we talk about what got that person into fitness, what got them into what they're into. Then we're going to a sauna, we have a unwind and we start talking about why we do what we do, and then we have a bit of fun at the end to finish with a laugh. We're getting the ice bath for 3 minutes. We have rock paper scissors, who to goes in the 2 or 4 degrees, and then we wrap it all up with a quick fire question. You go, I go, to either you do the 3 minutes or you tap out and say I've had enough. It's a new concept, keeps you moving.
Sauna time.
To Revive, the home of the sauna section of our podcast. Now come over here. As you can see, beautiful spot. An 8, a 6, a 4, a 2. It's cold, but first up is the sauna side. So this is where we're going to get a little bit deeper. We're going to unpick some of the reasons why. Come on in. The best sound ever. Now, give us 5 minutes, let us get warm, and then we'll kick this podcast back off. So, we're locked in, sauna, it's getting tasty, sweating, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely dripping.
Decent run. Jonny, we've been on a bit of a journey together, but there's a big gap between our journey, and I think what it'd be good to do is just delve straight back in with why, but let's get to know, I'll get people to know us both a little bit better. And I thought a good thing is what do you remember about me from school, and then I'll tell you what I remember about you.
I can definitely remember you being overweight. I can definitely remember you being quite annoying in the early years, and then from there on out I can remember you changing into somebody that were very disciplined. You'd go out on runs, all of a sudden stopped eating sweets, won't come camping with us, won't come out drinking with us, and kind of made a little divide, if you like, in you taking your journey of fitness from that point really, and then turning into a rugby player, and that's school journey.
I love that, and then I started thinking about what I remember about you, and first one that comes to head is your wife, and what I mean by that for no one that knows. So you met your wife at a very young age, which I think's really admirable in this day and age. Actually, you met each other at 14-year-old.
14, yeah.
Yeah, been together ever since. I always remember when we were all playing rugby at dinners, you'd be holding hands all dinner. That's what I remember. But what I do remember about you, Jonny, is fastest at 200 metre in year. So you always had that athletic ability. I remember a great story about you as someone who is unbelievably competitive, and maybe not in the sense of what people might categorically think as normal. So what I really liked about you is you weren't always naturally at best at something, and there's always a story that I think of with you when it comes to arm wrestling. And I remember you getting dominated by everyone at arm wrestling. You've gone home, and I don't even know if YouTube were around there, but you went and studied all best ways of arm wrestling, and then you came back out of nowhere, and no one's ever beat you since in 20 years, have they? And I think that just goes to show a lot about you, probably in your life, as a dad, as a businessman, where maybe you'll have got it wrong, but then what you do is, and what I really, really admire about you is you sort of know when you've got something wrong. It doesn't take you much to sort of do that, and then there's a burning desire for you to continually improve yourself to ultimately be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm not always the best at anything, but I think I can definitely work hard and try to be better and come back and be the best I can be. It's probably what kick-started the journey into fitness from us from here on out then, really, from the day in the playground.
Different version of events on that.
Totally different version of events, but actually I'm going to let you tell this version first because it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think what we're interested in, just had a bit of clarity there. So Jonny was a phenomenal rugby player, ended up with an awful injury, and then as Jonny said, I became this ultra disciplined kid at 15, going out doing mad stuff. Jonny had a bird and mates and did his thing, didn't you? And then obviously we sort of reconvened, and tragically, Jonny might talk about this, Jonny lost a couple of people to suicide, and in the early days of ANDYSMANCLUB, I really struggled when I bumped into anyone who'd lost someone to suicide, because I've always thought that they were a bit of it was my fault, and you know, in terms of like why couldn't I help him, and that was quite, so we sort of avoided each other, I think, unintentionally on school run, just more of a courteous hello. And anyway, one day just after COVID, Jonny were doing a couple of school runs, and we bumped into each other on these 2 school runs. I thought it were really good because I'd just come up with this idea of doing a bit of a run club, not what is now Run Drive, just me and a mate, Brett, best pal, just going running, and bumped into you, and you brought it up, hadn't you, about, oh, you've been going running, and you said, yeah, you should come one day. And at that point, I'm going to just pause here and just sort of give us a look into what your life were like at that point when I've asked you, why don't you come on a run sometime?
Yeah, so I think this were post-COVID, take it, when we're doing these school runs, and it were kind of a time in my life where everything prior to that had been about work, had been about, it's all I really knew, if I'm being honest, and I kind of lost my way with any fitness or any type of looking after your health, any lifestyle, and the typical tradesman way after a hard day's work there is probably to go for a pint, and then that pint probably leads to 2, and then before I know it, you're just years deep of that's a habit, that's what you turn that into, and without really realising. And then I think it took COVID for me to realise that there were a family at home, I needed to be present more, and the lifestyle I was leading, basically, it just wasn't healthy. I was drinking a lot, exercising none, probably under, I'd say, stress quite often. And yeah, that leads us then to the COVID and meeting you in playground, and obviously I'd seen that Luke had been doing some running, should I say, and I thought I'll just mention it because at that awkward moment there's not really much else to talk about apart from what you'd seen.
At that point though, what were a normal night to you? So you've gone to work, you've come home, and now the Jonny I know goes home, he goes for a run, jumps on his bike, he's already done swimming that morning because he's got himself on a challenge. But what was a typical evening for you then? What did that sort of look like?
So it typically looked like the children were a bit younger at this point, and it'd look along the lines of working probably a little bit later, going 6 o'clock, 6:30, and then at that point making an excuse to myself that kids had already been sorted out by now and it were acceptable to go and have a few beers, which obviously in moderation it is, but it just become to the point where it would just becoming an every night thing. Yep. And then I was getting home and probably carrying on drinking at home then, if I'm being honest, just as like the pub wasn't enough at that point. Yep. And then it turned into let's get some cans on my home, and I didn't see nothing wrong with it. The people surrounded me never said anything about it because of the circles you're probably moving in. Yeah, I mean, Jamie, she was very understanding at that time. She probably sees it a lot different than I do, falling asleep on the sofa, early morning start, straight out to work, late nights coming in, so she probably felt the pinch of that a lot more than I realised it was playing an effect, if I'm being perfectly honest with that, yeah.
And I think you said something really important there, and something I want to, there's the old saying, you become a product of the 5 people you spend most time with, and stuff, and even when I work in workplaces and people have a glass of wine and they seem to start hammering people to stop drinking wine or anything else, but when everyone around you is doing those, let's call them negative habits, and it becomes normal, then it's not bad, is it? But really, you then have to cut away from those people, not even intentionally at times, unintentionally at times, just to sort of break that cycle and find new habits, don't you?
Yeah, I think we've spoke a lot about this before, and I think you become closer then to the people that are doing the same things as you are at that moment in time. So I think the health journey, the fitness journey, before Ironman before when we were contemplating doing a 10K, when 5K seemed impossible around Shrogs Park, for instance, what probably a lot of people don't see now, as it were. It was never easy, it didn't come easy, even though you've just said from school there, athletic type. I think that time in between was 10 years or so.
Longer, yeah.
It certainly didn't come easy when we started out in Shrogs Park. I can remember doing a laps with one of my good mates, probably doing 2 or 3 laps and thinking that were a great deal, and then dying on, you know, come entrance. And nowadays, the way we live the lifestyle has changed, and now the kids are doing that many laps. In fact, they're probably doing more and faster. So, you know, influence-wise on them, it's changed them a hell of a lot. I think it changed me a hell of a lot, and then in turn the circle that you find yourself surrounded with, everybody always seems to be doing better, and in them turn doing better, you want to be better, and then yeah, this is where we turn up to and just be the best version of us.
And then to carry on this bit of a story, we randomly bumped into each other again next day, and I'd already started a WhatsApp group. I'd said to you, let's get you in that WhatsApp group so you can come. You'd sort of hoped I'd lost your number because you didn't want to sort of at that point probably break out of that lifestyle. And then next minute, you're on a run with us, and the 3-time Ironman today wasn't born then, or it was in his birthing stage. You came on a run, you put the hammer down like in the early days at 200 metres, and back went for 2 weeks, didn't it? And before we go on to the rest of the journey, we're going to take a quick break because it's getting super hot. We're going to have a quick shower off and we're back for part 2. Part 1 was phenomenal. We got a great sweat on, it got hot in there. Now we've just come out to a Revive Wellness Club coffee. Revive have been phenomenal in giving us this space to be our sauna partner, our ice partner, and we're unbelievably grateful to have them on the vlogcast. But listen, we can stand out here talking all day, but there's lots more conversation to have in part 2. Let's go. So we're back, part 2, we've checked back in, and I think what I want to delve deeper into now, Johnny, is we've gone on a bit on fitness journey. We've gone on you coming in that run that day. But then there was something that sort of drew us together. So we've turned up on that run. We've surrounded ourselves with some good lads at that point. Lads are going out running every morning. For some reason, we seem to like doing it in dark, which is weird because then summer comes and everyone sort of drops off. But we stuck together for quite a while. But then me and you went one step further, didn't we? Do you want to go down a bit of a trip down memory lane on which events we started first and sort of what came from it?
So, I think, did we first start off with 448?
75 hard.
Oh, 75 hard even, which were a challenge over 75 days of clean eating, 2 lots of exercise for 45 minutes, which one of them had to be outdoor.
Take a picture,
yeah,
3 litres of water, 3.5 litres of water, read 10 pages of a book,
yeah,
and not have no sugar or any crap for a full 75 days.
It sounds quite easy when you say it like that, doesn't it? But it's actually a really tough challenge, that one.
Because
that's up there with one of the, in terms of discipline, for 75 days, and even just something as simple as taking a photo.
Yeah.
You know, the people say, well, how could you ever forget to take a photo? Because I think that was one times when I failed, or the second time round. And it's just because you're just so tired, you're in bed, you think I'll do my photo when I get up to the toilet, and then next minute you go to sleep. And yeah, so that's where the journey started out on 75 hard, which then turned into 48.
That's right. I know I got super competitive on it. I'd seen a rugby player called Ben Cocaine say that he was going to do everyone in under 35 minutes, so I thought challenge accepted. A few boys turned up, and obviously when you look at me, people don't often think I can run. And I remember one lad turned up, great lad, good runner, and he sort of said, you boys going to have a dig on this one, and it was a bit of a race. And yeah, I think even to this day nearly, my fastest ever 5K is on the last run of that, which it was tough all day, wasn't it?
Yeah, really tough. I think for me, the actual hardest part was managing to settle down and rest at night, getting that heart rate, low enough that you can actually fall asleep, because that's not something I'd, at that point, really looked into or I knew anything about. It was just kind of, you went out, and we're still at the stage really where we were just going out and running things as fast as we probably could, couldn't we? I mean, some days we were tired, so it'd be an easier run, but other than that, we knew a lot less than we do now, so I've not really taken into account this settling down at night or digesting the food. So after every run, it was like, right, get as much food down as we can. Bear in mind, we were doing 75 hard at that time, weren't we? So it had to be a healthy food. So, eating all the calories we could eat and then trying to sleep on top of that, and then it was just tough, because you're not going to sleep for 4 hours. You might be catching half an hour at back end. I think some late on at night we'd spent it in van as well.
Yeah, we did.
So we didn't exactly do it in comfort. I think we underestimated it. Probably how we did a lot of these events going into it, if I'm being honest. I think sometimes you probably think too much into it, and we definitely just delved into that, and then from there on out, we jumped into 70.3 from there.
Yeah, first we wrapped up 75 hard, and then we finished that with a marathon for a bit of fun. We finished that all around Bradford, over hills of Bradford, which were a right laugh. And then
beat me there.
Beat you there. I remember us both being broken after that. And then it were let the body settle, and it was like, right, what's next? What challenge can we do next? You'd always want to do an Ironman. I'd always sort of had Lanzarote in my head. It's a place that I get pulled back to a lot from my rugby days, being able to go there in the winter. And then a guy messaged me, and a great bloke, and he just says, why don't you do Outlaw 70.3? I messaged you, we signed up that day, and then the rest is history. I think I want to get a little bit deeper on this, so just to fly through the Ironman, because I know tech-wise we're still working out the pros and cons of doing this in a sauna. Is we went to 70.3, we realised that probably wasn't enough, although it were horrible.
Yeah.
And we did another 70.3 leading into Ironman Bolton, which I might have had the 1-0 on the marathon, but I think you're 4-0 up on the Ironman, so that's just the way that it goes sometimes. We both fell in love, and I think we spoke earlier about that, about what it is about Ironman that makes us tick. For me personally, it's the solitude. I do like training with people, I really do. I'm a people person, but when it comes to this endurance stuff, I do also like to be alone. I like to come at sauna alone sometimes, and I think it's good being part of a pack. But for me, and I know we're different on this, I like sometimes just being on my own, listening to my thoughts, seeing what's going on inside, seeing where my relationships are, my friendships are at, and just really delving deep onto myself. And I think when you're on a bike for 4 hours in your garage, and in my case sweating a lot, covering my garage, like I said, been a flood, you can't do anything but connect with yourself and see where you really are, and see where your deepest, darkest secrets start to pop out on you, and your insecurities. So what about you?
I think for me, it's probably it's because it's so hard, I think it attracts me. I think triathlon, whether any triathlon, but definitely 70.3 going into full distance is so hard. You have to give it time. You have to give it your all, because you can't get away with just, I don't know, turning up and the canal incident. I turned up that day and I managed to get through that run, injured or not. You can get away with it. You can hide a little bit. Whereas I think Ironman, the outlaw events, kind of take that away. So it keeps it keeps me hungry for what's possible, what I can do, what I can achieve, where I can get to. Yeah. And then I love the group factor, because I also love other people getting involved, and I love to see where they place themselves. I like to see them starting at the beginning, because I've been on that journey, them thinking they know it all, then realising they don't very fast, and then taking it serious, and then going and completing the goal. Some of the people that we train with, it wouldn't seem possible on that Goggins challenge that, in particular one person, that he couldn't even run the last one with us, let alone, get through an Ironman, and now he's done 2 Ironman. Yeah. One of them being the hardest on circuit, and the other being in Barcelona. So I think the achievements come out of it are what really attractive to me. I like it when it gets hard and you start questioning whether you should be here, whether you can do it, and then crossing that finish line and then realising that probably wasn't as hard as you thought, but trust me, in that moment in time, it feels it.
Yeah. I think, as a soundbite here, we started off overweight, both of us. I'd just come out of professional rugby. You'd just come off being still run an electric business, but you were a trader, doing what traders do. I were a former professional rugby player, doing what they do, getting big, Ricky Hatton style, that style of ballooning after you finish playing and comfy eating. But I think what's really important for anyone starting out on this Mission Possible journey is just to sit and think. And you can use us as examples, you can use thousands of other people examples as a couple of people who maybe didn't believe quite what were possible and just kept testing that and kept finding that having an accountability partner along the way, having someone just to help keep pushing you is so important. And although I like to train on my own, I think sometimes it's really important, or all the time, to have an accountability partner, whether that be in weight loss, whether it be in life, but business, parenting, and someone you can bounce those ideas, and they've got similar views or even sometimes different views to challenge you. So I think the big call to action here is for anyone who's listening today who's thinking, well, I'm going to do 5 Ironman. You don't have to. You don't have to go do 75 hours, you have to do 4:48. Go and run that first park run like you did, or go do that first 2 laps. I think that's the really important part here.
Yeah, I think that's a message that I really want to get across, because after putting the post out, a few people have messaged and saying, I can't join in because I can't do an Ironman. And I've obviously explained to them that this isn't just about an Ironman, this can be about a hike, it can be about the 5k, it can be about a half marathon, the Yorkshire 3 Peaks. It can just be, or an ANDYSMANCLUB, it could just be any of them. Something that you struggle with, something that you wouldn't normally do, that you're going to set a goal, get discipline in order, and go and get after it.
We're now going to lighten up the mood, because one thing, I've bigged Johnny up today that he's good at running, he's good at triathlon, great dad. One thing he's piss poor on is ice bathing. So we're going to see that. So we're going to jump up in a second. We're going to have a game of rock, paper, scissors, best of 3. This is a 2 degrees, this is a 4 degrees, and whoever wins can pick which one they want to go in. So let's see how this goes. Just so people know before we get in, conventionally you sit down with your back this way because where the seat is. So it's actually going to be harder because we've got to go in the deep end and we've got to submerge because we're going to have our shoulders out. We might be able to keep his hands out, but we're going to shoulder submerge and it's going to be difficult. Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper,
Ready?
scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. Come on. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 1-0. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, 1-0. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. There we are.
Yeah.
That's the three. So I'm going to nominate, because I'm a nice guy and I know he struggles with cold, to put Jonny in the 4. I'm going to be a good guy and put him in the 4. I would love to see him in the 2, but I think the 4 is going to feel like 2 to him anyway. So let's get in. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. That's nice. Come close so you can see the timer. That's 3 minutes. Let's go.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favourite movie genre?
Action.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Texting or talking on the phone?
Talking on phone.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Books or podcasts?
Books.
Favourite holiday spot?
Turkey.
Would you rather fly or be invisible?
Fly.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Pineapple or pizza, yes or
No.
Call or video call?
Call.
Favourite season of the year?
Summer.
Are you a planner or spontaneous?
Plan.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson.
What one hobby have you always wanted to try?
Flying.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Favourite type of music?
Country.
Do you have a favourite movie?
The Butterfly Effect.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Fly.
If you could be any historical figure, who would you be?
Ooh, good question. It's like a figure. Churchill.
That's 20.
20 questions.
How you feeling, Luke?
It's cold. Very cold. What refreshing.
Got 30 seconds, guys.
My foot is right on the road.
Pumping right in my back.
Yes.
5 seconds.
That's a wrap. Just want to say a huge thank you to Jonny for being our first vlogcast guest. You'll be seeing lots more of it on the channel, on the podcast, or the vlogcast, because we're going to be training for this Mission Possible where we're taking on all 5 UK Ironman. See how this goes. Awesome.